Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday. The movie starts off at a dark summer camp. We see this chick arrive at a cabin, and after getting the power back on, she does what anyone else in a horror movie would do. She goes to get in the shower when the lights go out again. She's looking around the house when she runs right into good old Jason Voorhees. Played this time by the one and only Kane Hodder. Well, just as you have come to expect with these movies, he chases her through the woods, and right when he's about to murder the bitch, this happens. Yeah, and if shooting the shit out of him wasn't enough, they blow him the fuck up. Now, I know what you're thinking. Jason is dead? Already? And it hasn't even been 10 minutes into the movie? The fuck is going on here? Well, don't you worry, folks, because Jason isn't technically dead. We will see him kill again, but it's not what you're expecting. Cut over to the morgue where we see the coroner doing an autopsy on Jason's parts, I guess you can say.
My professional opinion, this guy's better than shit.
When all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he gets this insane urge to eat Jason's heart for some reason. So now Jason lives again vicariously through this poor guy? So many questions here. He hears someone talking shit about him and literally murders the guy with a probe. Now in his newly found body, you know Jason can't just sit around being unproductive. He's got some killing to do. We then see the news report on Jason's little murder party down at the morgue, and it has people speculating on the fact of Jason still being out there.
Are these men victims of a serial killer only believed to be deceased? Many say yes.
Over at some diner near Camp Crystal Lake, I guess, we see that they're taking full advantage of the whole Jason thing, and they even got a 2-for-1 special on Jason burgers.
This makes a whole new patty, hence the 2-for-1 burger sale.
Well, okay. This is where we meet Diana, played by Erin Gray, and we come to find out later that she is actually the sister of the hockey mask maniac. Yeah, so I guess Jason wasn't an only child? Yeah! This is where we also meet the badass Duke, played by the iconic Steven Williams.
I'm gonna kill Jason Voorhees. I need you to help me.
Turns out old Duke is here because he's on the hunt to kill Jason for good. But he needs Diana's help because apparently only a Voorhees can kill him.
I know everything about you, Diana. I know who you really are.
But they just think he's nuts and throw him out.
He's coming for you, Diana. And your daughter. Lock your doors.
And we meet Steven as well, played by John D. LeMay.
Come to my house tonight at 11. And don't be late.
Cut to later that night where we see Steven picking up some hitchhikers on the side of the road that are on their way to Camp Crystal Lake to do some real horror movie middle-aged, teenage bullshit.
Planning on smoking a little dope, having a little premarital sex, and getting slaughtered?
Well, this is a Jason movie, sorta. And in good Friday the 13th fashion, the middle-aged teens all get murdered. Well, off-screen they do at least, because we really don't see much because it all happens slightly off-screen for some reason. Over at the diner, we see Jason, or morgue guy, just lurking in the shadows. Then, jump scare. Because, you know, you gotta. Turns out Jason is looking for a new body, and he wants this guy's for some odd reason, and then we get this pretty brutal kill here. Over at the Voorhees house, we see coroner guy Jason prepping his next skin suit with a nice close shave. Gotta get that new body looking clean before you transfer your evil soul into him, huh? Then, he does this gross shit. After giving the cop mouth-to-mouth and acquiring his new look, cop guy Jason is out on the prowl. We cut back to Diana's place where we see that cop guy Jason is trying to give her a hug. When she pulls a revolver from the drawer and blows his fucking brains out. Yeah, take that, you cop guy Jason fuck. We then see Diana's daughter Jessica with her baby and her new boyfriend, the news guy from earlier, and also Jason's next form. Back at Diana's house, we see cop guy Jason trying to give her some unwanted mouth-to-mouth. When Steve bursts in and pretty much gets his ass kicked and thrown all around, and then this happens. And right as he's lunging towards Steven, he ducks just in time, and Jason gets a glimpse of his true self in the mirror before him. Then he gets fireplace pokered in the back and falls out of the window Michael Myers style. Sheriff Landis comes in and sees Steven covered in blood and instantly thinks that he's just murdered his sweetheart, so he puts his ass in the slammer. Because of plot, I guess, gets locked up right next to Duke. And because of plot, again, he's the only one who believes him about Jason.
It was Jason that killed Diana.
What did you say?
There's only one way to put an end to that devil.
And knows how to kill his evil ass. And also agrees to give him information, but for a very high price.
Oh, fuck!
And this is where Duke gives all the exposition you need to know exactly what the fuck is going on here.
Only way to kill Jason Voorhees is to destroy his heart. Only one person can do that now that Diana's dead. Her daughter. Those FBI idiots destroyed Jason's body, so now he needs a new one. Ones he's jumping in and out of, they can't last. Jason needs to be reborn again, and he needs Jessica to do it.
We also find out that Steven is in fact the child's father. So the stakes just got even higher. This movie is just all over the place, ain't it? So Steven does a little jailbreak and sets out to find Jessica and his daughter.
The chance I'm gonna take.
He goes over to the Voorhees home and he finds a really fucking cool Easter egg on a dusty table. Now that is badass right there. Remember the news boyfriend guy from earlier? Well, turns out he's one real corrupt piece of shit.
I stole Diana's body and I hid it here in the closet. And then I went home and fucked her daughter.
And to boost ratings on his television show, he set up this elaborate scheme that involves the dead body of his girlfriend's mom, all for a TV show.
I'll bring the police, they'll discover the body on camera, and our ratings will go right through the fucking roof.
Yeah, what a fucking asshole, huh? Well, the good news is that he's gonna get what's coming to his bitch ass. But the bad news is, he actually ends up getting French kissed by an evil cop guy and becomes the new Jason. And we also get to see what happens to the bodies that Jason leaves behind after he goes into a new one. And let me tell you something, folks. Shit is pretty fucking gross. Fuck it. Jessica goes to take a shower because, you know, horror movie, when, just like in the beginning, the lights go out. Since this is a horror movie and all, Jessica knows how this shit turns out. So she goes to get in the car and runs right into her undead, Jason-possessed boyfriend.
Scared the hell out of me. Where have you been? Robert!
Steven attempts to drive away with Jessica, and Robert Jason just isn't having that shit. They barely escape the clutches of Robert Jason, and somewhere down the road, Steven tries to fill her in, but she thinks he's insane and kicks him the fuck out of the car.
Wait for me! Come on! Get away from me! Get away from me!
Jessica goes to the police station to inform the police of Steven's crazy antics. Then, after a scuffle between Steven and cop guy number 2, we get this funny scene here.
I got a gun. Fuck that. I got a gun.
Steven finds out that Jessica is at the police station and tells cop number 2 to take him in. Cut back to the police station where we see Robert Jason murder a bunch of cops Terminator style to get to Jessica and to give her the slip of the tongue. When Steven shows up and guns him the fuck down. But you know that man ain't dead. Jessica and Steven head to the diner to get their daughter back when we see the most painful handshake of all time. Then, what do you know? The lights go out. Because of course they fucking do. Robert Jason does his murder thing. Oh, shit! We then get this pretty awesome kill here. He hit that bitch with an elbow so hard, her fucking chin caved in. Shit. After Robert Jason's, 6th killing spree tonight, one of the waitresses picks up a random piece of metal that just so happened to be around and stabs it through his chest. But she dies right after, ironically telling Jason to go to hell.
Go to hell!
After Robert Jason gets temporarily downed for the 100th time tonight, they go into the back room to get the baby, but there's nothing there except for a letter from Duke. Jessica goes to the Voorhees home, only to find Duke holding her baby. And then, Duke finally spills the beans.
Only through a Voorhees can he be reborn. And only a Voorhees can kill him. With that.
Yes, that's literally the Kandarian dagger from the Evil Dead. Now that is fucking badass. Sheriff Landis and cop number 2 come into the joint, and she doesn't know who to trust because Jason could literally be anybody at this fucking point. So she takes a chance and ends up stabbing the wrong guy. Steve comes flying in the room wielding a machete and slices cop number 2 Jason guy's throat. This is where we see the demon fetus form of Jason, I guess, and it escapes down into the basement where the dead body of Diana is. So Jason is reborn like a motherfucker.
Holy Mother of God.
And somehow donning the exact same clothes and hockey mask like nothing ever happened, Jason gives Duke the biggest hug of his life, killing the fuck out of him. I never knew Jason was such a hugger, huh? Oh, and Jessica also dropped the dagger. You know, that one and only thing that can truly kill Jason. Yeah, well, she dropped it down into the basement as well, so there's that. Steven and Jason are having a comedic brawl out in the front yard, like some wrestling match shit. Jessica finally makes it to the brawl, dagger in hand, and stabs the undead freak right in the chest. After Steven gives Jason a couple of last punches to the mask, Jessica kicks the dagger even further into that evil fucker. Then Jason, of course, dies and is dragged down into hell by these comically large demon hands. After Steven barely escapes being pulled down into the hellish pit as well, they get the fuck out of there and literally walk off into the sunrise. But right before the credits roll, we get one final Easter egg. fucking Freddy Krueger. Well, his hand at least. And that's the end of the film. Do I recommend this movie? Well, although the cool nods and break away from the standard Friday the 13th formula was a nice change of pace, that doesn't necessarily make a good Friday the 13th movie in my opinion. The movie is just all over the place with a bunch of really silly plot holes and twists, and just the whole Jason jumping bodies like he's changing clothes thing is just all a bit too much. Now, I'm not saying this is the worst Friday the 13th movie, let alone the worst movie I've ever seen, but I feel like this could have just been a different movie instead of a Jason flick, you know? Like a standalone thing, or just named it something different. Just the fact that they had to slap Jason on this ridiculous plot to make it a Friday the 13th film just to cash in on the name is kind of ridiculous. Because at no point does this movie really even feel like a Friday the 13th film, except the horny middle-aged teens getting killed off at Camp Crystal Lake and, you know, seeing Jason from time to time through a reflection or two. It just doesn't feel like a Jason movie to me. And I mean, he is only actually in the movie in Jason form for maybe 10 minutes, maybe less. Rest of the time, he's in some random person possessed by Jason. All in all, it's not a bad movie. It's got a bunch of really awesome special and practical effects, and a pretty good cast, but that's about it. If you are a Friday the 13th or Jason fan, you could probably avoid this one because you really aren't missing too much here. But if you are curious, then like I said, it's an entertainingly good movie. But again, not a good Friday the 13th movie if that makes any sense. Scott86, Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday. See you guys on the next episode of Monster Mash.